pilots must be sure that the imbalance is not caused by a more serious problem, such as a fuel leak.
Last fuel check was only 15 minutes ago and it was okay. No indication of a fuel leak. Keep going.
Wing cross feed. On.
On.
Once you begin the cross-feeding procedure to correct a fuel imbalance, restorative action should commence quite quickly. In other words, the situation would not continue to get worse. It would either stabilize immediately and then begin to correct itself.
But the situation is not correcting itself. Unknown to the pilots, there is a major fuel leak in the number 2 engine on the right-hand side of the plane. Flight 236 is some 300 with the fuel calculations. He discovers something is seriously wrong.
There's much less fuel than we should have. It looks like a fuel leak.
Check again.
The Yager finds a disturbing difference.
According to all the gauges, all the tanks in the right wing are way below the level they should be, according to the flight plan, and there's hardly anything in the other ones.
What about the trim tank?
There's nothing there either.
Yes?
Hello, first officer here.
Can we come to the cockpit, please?
Sure.
Although Captain Pichet still believes he is dealing with a computer problem, he nevertheless decides to ask for a visual check just in case, to see if there could be a fuel leak.
Captain?
Hi. Can you and Karen take some flashlights and go to the windows? If you can see anything jetting back from the wings, it'll look like a mist or a stream and report back immediately.
Okay.
Great. I want you to do another complete fuel check, please.
In daylight, the fuel pouring out the back of the wing would have been clearly visible, but in the dead of night, even with a torch, the fuel leaking from the engine is impossible to see.
Evidently realized that the situation was not improving, and at that point they realized that their circumstances were becoming more serious. And I think that there were probably some discussions took place between the two pilots as to what the next course of action should be.
If the computer is correct, then with the amount of fuel remaining, the airbus will no longer be able to make it to Lisbon. Captain Pichet is forced to divert the flight.
We've got a direct. Get on to Oceanic Control. Where's the nearest airfield?
Transat 236 Heavy Santa Maria Control, can you advise nearest airfield? We have a possible fuel problem.
The nearest runway is over 300 kilometers away. With the fuel remaining, Rajes Military Air Base on the tiny island of Terceira in the Azores should be within reach.
Santa Maria Control, Transat 236 Heavy. Proceed 230, flight level 390 direct. 350 miles to threshold. Are you declaring an emergency?
Stand by, Santa Maria Control.
Not yet. Must be the computer.
Transat 236 Heavy Santa Maria Control, no assistance required yet.
Flight 236 continues flying south for the next 25 minutes. Everything in the cabin seems normal. But in the cockpit, The fuel readings are getting worse.
Must be the computer.
I've checked. There's nothing in the trim or center tank. And the gauges show only 7.5.
According to the fuel gauges, the plane is using fuel much faster than normal. Whether they believe the gauges or not, the captain has no choice. He must warn air traffic.
Started flickering on and off, which I thought was kind of odd, strange.
On one engine, the airbus will not fly at 39,000 feet. They must descend quickly.
Try to transfer fuel from center tank into trim tank.
Transferring. Fuel quantities reaching 0.
Just tell me. I'm not gonna go completely dry on this airplane. Alright. We can't stay at 39,000 feet with just one engine. We'll descend to 33,000 to control our speed.
236 Garages Tower. We have lost one engine. Engine flame out.
Roger, Transat 236. We can see you on primary radar. You are at 135 nautical miles from Lajes Field.
We are 135 nautical miles from Lajes Field.
For the next 10 minutes, the stricken Airbus continues on its one remaining engine. The pilots still believe that the computer may be partly faulty, and that they can make it to Lajes with fuel to spare.
Yeah, might be alright.
Fuel gauge is falling fast, though. It's nearly hitting 0.
But 13 minutes after the right-hand engine cut out, and with 157 kilometers still to go, the left engine begins to fail. In the ocean. The Portuguese investigation remains unpublished. Airbus blames the pilots for mishandling the fuel leak. Robert Pichet and Dirk de Jager continue to fly with Air Transat. In August 2002, they received one of the highest honors of the Airline Pilots Association for the longest glide ever accomplished in a passenger airliner. After the accident, Airbus modified its checklist in the event of fuel imbalance. From now on, the computer checks all fuel levels on board against the flight plan. It now gives a clear warning if more fuel is being lost than the engines can consume. Rolls-Royce has reissued a service bulletin alerting all its clients of the incompatibility of two almost similar parts.
Whatever the circumstances are, the pressure that he was under is tremendous. He
saved our lives, and whether or not he made an error, or if there was a failure of a computer, it doesn't really matter because we're alive.